Hey, what's going on, everybody? This right here is going to be the accompanying video that will go along with the deck guide that's going to be posted on Reddit for this deck that I made. Currently, I'm 16, 0, and 1 on ladder, and I built this deck as a counter deck against all the Swarm that's been going around forever, as well as the Giant Three Musketeers and the P.E.K.K.A. Three Musketeers that have been running rampant everywhere, especially in high ladder. So if you look right here, we 3-crowned a Giant Three Musketeer user. We're beating Golems. We're beating Zapbait. We're beating Giant Cycle. We are beating another Giant Three Musketeers. We're beating P.E.K.K.A. Three Musketeers. Giant Graveyard. Let's see here. Another Giant Cycle deck. I believe that's the Boss Huey's deck that Tokor there is using. And then another Giant Three Musketeers deck. We drew against the Hog player. We P.E.K.K.A. Three Musketeers. Graveyard. We have, let's see, that right there is, I'm trying to think of the player's name. It's a really popular Giant Freeze deck, though. Final Boss YouTube? No, I don't think that's who it is. But anyways, let's see. P.E.K.K.A. Three Musketeers. Giant Three Musketeers. So anyways, yeah, you guys get the point. Basically, we are stomping Giant Three Musketeers player, which is the whole basis that we built this deck around. Basically, you get to a point on ladder where you get so high that that's all you're encountering match after match after match, and a graveyard definitely has a hard time against those matches. So anyways, we're going to be pausing throughout the videos and breaking down how to play those matchups so you guys can understand exactly my thought process going through that. So first matchups against Freeze-a-Lot. Right here inside of this starting hand, either I would play my Tombstone or else I'd play my Archers. Generally, I'm going to split my Archers right here because I have my Witch as my 5th card in rotation. So we go ahead and do that. Since I don't have another play to make right here, I go ahead and drop the Valkyrie in front of the Archer there on the left. And right here, my opponent's going to try to kite my Valkyrie. So we're going to drop our Tombstone to counter that. Right now, let me pause this. Generally, you wouldn't have the Skeletons going the same lane as the Giant. Against this matchup, generally you want the Giant coming into the Tombstone where the Skeletons are not coming towards him, and then the reason why is because they usually come on the other side with the Battle Ram, and then that way you're able to pull both the Giant and the Battle Ram at the same time. So anyways, what's going to happen here is because my Valkyrie crosses the bridge, I'm able to drop that Knight down in front of him, and he basically dropped that pump, which allows me to have a good counter push and my arrows and poison available to take this tower on the first push. So right here, even though Witch is pre-selected, once I hit 10 elixir, I would rather go to Archers, because if I'm not sure which lane he's going to play in, I could have split Archers. But what happens here is he plays Battle Ram. So instead of splitting, we're going to put them all in the same lane. We're going to Tombstone. So right here, let me pause. Generally, what I would do against this Elixir Collector up there is I would just surround it with the Graveyard by itself, but Graveyard's out of rotation. So we're going to try a little mini push here. We're going to drop the Knight. We're going to Graveyard the Pump, and then the Archers should kill the Pump inside the middle. And what's going to happen here is the leftover Graveyard troops and Archers are going to be able to kill the Giant. So right there, we didn't have any good move to make. Thankfully, he ended up playing into the same lane as the Witch. The reason how come I dropped the Witch inside the left lane is because since the right tower was down, I assumed that he would not want to push in that lane. So right here, I had enough troops to stop the Ram, so we go ahead and poison the Three Musketeers. my knight can take out that musketeer on the right by itself, so we're going to solo that. We're going to play the tombstone the same lane as the giant in this case, because we knew that he wasn't going to have enough elixir basically to punish us. Right there we drop Valk, and the reason why is that Valkyrie would not only kill the battle ram, but it would also kill the approaching goblins as well. Right here we're able to poison the 3 musketeers, and that's basically game. So that right there is our first match. Generally where I drop those archers at is a bad spot, because they would get fireballed along with the tombstone. However, I know the matchup, and I know that my opponent is not running a fireball. So that right there was against Freeze-a-Lot. Next game we will look is against Bexa. So let me run this matchup. Okay, right here I have archers and I have tombstone, so it's optimal for me. Because, let me pause. So see, sometimes you'll see me split archers, sometimes you'll see me go tombstone. Right here you guys are going to see me go tombstone, and the reason why is because I know that if I play my archers, currently I don't have another air support unit, and so instead of playing archers, we're going to go tombstone until we have at least some backup for air. So that initial placement on your very first tombstone is always going to be 3 tiles from the river. He zaps. We played our archers up front, that way so we'd kill the goblins. Okay. Right here, I didn't really have anything besides just poisoning the pump to have a good push. And so I kind of went with the offhand counter push there, putting the knight in front of the witch. But it actually ends up working out. Now we're able to poison the pump and get Goblin Gang in there and the bats. And so that 4 elixir poison just killed 6, 9, 11 elixir worth of damage. Look, we're in the same predicament that we were in last time. Once we would have hit 10 elixir, we're going to be playing our tombstone again unless he made a move. Okay. But you'll notice right here I ended up switching to my archers, and the reason why is because I was unsure what lane my opponent would be sending his giant or battle ram in, and so I didn't want to pre-place my tombstone for fear that they would just place the ram on the opposite side and bypass it. So in that case I switched to archers instead of tombstone. So what we're going to do right here is we drop the Valk on the 2 musketeers on the right, knight on the single musketeer on the left, and we're able to just plow right through that push. Okay, right here, I didn't really have any tank. If you look with my graveyard, if I would have had a knight in a graveyard or a Valkyrie in a graveyard, I would have used a graveyard push to address the pump. That way so I could have saved poison for 3 musketeers. But I didn't have a good tank in cycle, so we just went ahead and poisoned that. So we're going to drop Witch. You'll notice that I put that tombstone in the opposite lane of the giant, and that's so if they use their battle ram, the giant and the battle ram will both be affected by that tombstone. The poison was a little bit sloppy right there. It could have been more accurate. But see, if that tombstone pulls the giant and it pulled the battle ram. And we're just able to completely clean that up. Opponent basically had no chance. We're going to drop the tombstone to pull the giant, archers on the bats, Valkyrie on the Goblin Gang, and this deck just answers everything that our opponent would use. You can see he just zapped my tower. So we have, giant 3 musketeer players giving up against graveyard players generally does not happen because they could just overpower you. But yeah. I wasn't going to look at these other matchups. I originally didn't realize that I had 7 Three Musketeer matchups, but apparently I did. So we are going to go ahead and play another one. Or, you know what, might be more beneficial to you guys. Here, we're going to do this differently. We are going to, let's see here. Those are the 3 Elixir games. So yeah, those right there weren't, these right here were my war battles. So what we will do, let's see. Trying to think of what would be more beneficial here. I don't really think another graveyard matchup. You know, I will go ahead and show another Three Musketeer matchup, just because that is the most like common matchup you guys are gonna face in top ladder, and it's extremely aggravating to have to deal with. So we're gonna watch this Caxper FX, and this right here will be the last one that I show you guys. So 3 matchups. Sorry for jumping all over the place, by the way. I wasn't really planning on making this, and it was last minute. So since archers were out of rotation, we're going to start Tombstone 3 tiles away. He immediately rushes with Giant, so we're going to put our archers on the opposite side. That way they can't be targeted by like a fireball, things like that. I believe what I'm going to do here is I'm going to Valkyrie Graveyard. And then I'm going to have enough to use my arrows. He also can't use his Goblin Gang up there because my Valkyrie would have destroyed it. So I don't know if you guys are noticing, but each time I'm taking down these guys' tower in one single push, and it's just because you want to make the correct plays, and you want to be smart about them, set up the right counter pushes. You want to catch them whenever they're low on elixir, and whenever they get greedy, basically. So right here, we decide to split the archers, I believe. Yep. Basically what we're doing, let me pause. Basically what we're doing right here is we're stalling until we know which lane the opponent's going to send the Giant down on. We know that we could drop Knight on the single Musketeer and the Valkyrie on the 2 set of Musketeer. And so that's what we're doing. We drop the Knight on the single. Now we know which direction the battle ram's coming from. Now we're going to go ahead and do that. Tombstone, and then Valkyrie on the 2 Musketeers. And then right here I use arrows just to clean everything up. So our opponent's going to reach 10 elixir before we will. This allowed us to have a chance to drop the Witch instead of the archers, which that's what we would have went to there. So basically right here we're just dropping enough elixir to kill the Giant as fast as possible. I believe I counter with the a Giant Graveyard push. Not a Giant Graveyard, excuse me. A Knight Graveyard push. We go ahead and poison that. We have arrows for the Minion Horde if needed, but we go ahead and do Witch. And that just keeps the pressure on that lane with the Witch right there. Tombstone in the middle, archers to the side. Right here we can use a Valkyrie directly on the Giant, so as the goblins push through, they will die. We've got the arrows for the Minion Horde. Tombstone for the battle ram. And that's game. So yeah, guys, this is the deck that I've been using. Very successful, and hopefully it'll help you guys out as well, because hopefully if enough of us are using this deck, we can finally get that giant deck off the list. So anyways, take care, guys.